Network is a film released in 1976 that I feel has really stayed relevant to issues in our society, perhaps being even more relevant now than when it was first released. Before I continue, I need to give some context to the attitudes that were present in the mid-1970s, as well as what role television played at this time. By the 1970s, television was no longer a new thing. It was a household staple. With shows like Twilight Zone, Star Trek, and MASH, TV was pushing the boundaries and was finding its audience easily, and an entire subculture was developing around it. You also need to understand that this was an era before home video. If a film was out of theaters, that was it. If you missed the show, you had to find out from others what had happened. CNN, along with the 24-hour news cycle, wouldn't come till the 1980s, so you also had to make time to watch the news if you didn't want to listen to the radio or read a paper. People would build their lives around their favorite shows. These days, it's unacceptable to decline an invitation because your show is on, but in the 70s, that was extremely common, especially with things like news, which I'll get to later. There are many social, political, and international conflicts that bred the views of the society this film takes place in, but I will simply highlight 3 of them. The 1972 Munich Summer Games already had historical significance before they even began. They were the first Olympics to be held in Germany since the 1936 Games. The Games signified an end to grudges and hostilities between the belligerents of the Second World War. The motto even reflected this, Die heiteren Spiele, or the Happy Games. However, a tragedy would occur. In the early morning on September 5th, a group of Palestinian terrorists snuck into the athletes' dormitories and took 9 Israeli athletes hostage. The group demanded the release of over 200 prisoners and a flight to Cairo. Several ABC News reporters had gotten cameras inside the scene, capturing the iconic images you see now. German officials feigned agreement to their demands, and a rescue attempt was made at the airport. It ended in disaster with a German police officer and 11 Israelis losing their lives. TV audiences at the time had never seen anything like it. It was one of the first breaking news tragedies that TV audiences would see. It had a profound effect on viewers at the time, and still remains one of the darkest moments in Olympic history. In retaliation for American support of Israel during the Yom Kippur War, the members of the OAPEC placed an embargo on the U.S. and several other countries such as the Netherlands. The embargo began in October 1973, and by March 1974, the price of oil had quadrupled, going from $3 to $12 per barrel. By March 1974, negotiations had been conducted, and all but Libya had agreed to end the embargo. The embargo had widespread catastrophic effects on American culture. A national speed limit of 55 miles per hour was imposed on all highways. Gas prices rose from 38 cents per gallon to 55 cents. Some states told citizens not to put up Christmas lights. Reports show that by February 1974, 1/5 of gas stations in the U.S. had no fuel. Rationing systems were implemented, and there were strikes, riots, and even deaths. NASCAR even canceled some events. What had been a steadily growing economy over the last few decades crashed to the ground almost overnight. Where there had been plenty, there was now few, and the effects of the crisis would linger for years to come. By 1974, the Watergate scandal had blown up, and President Nixon faced impeachment. This scandal shook the U.S. to its core. The Pentagon Papers and the failure of military action in Vietnam had destroyed trust for authority. And who better to look to than the very same people who brought you the information about this? Audiences looked to people like Walter Cronkite for the truth, and they found it. News anchors became the most trusted men in America. Now that you understand the background to the social issues and culture that were present at the time, we will now begin our critical look at Network. The film centers around the fictional TV network, UBS, which is an obvious stand-in for any of the major broadcasting networks at the time. The main character is Howard Beale. We learn that he is a downtrodden man who is not only made a widower, but will also lose his job due to poor ratings. This leads him to do
Ladies
this.
and gentlemen, I would like at this moment to announce that I will be retiring from this program in 2 weeks' time because of poor ratings. Since this show was the only thing I had going for me in my life, I have decided to kill myself.
So what'd she say?
I'm going to blow my brains out right on this program a week from today.
10 seconds to commercial.
So tune in next Tuesday. That should give the public relations people a week to promote the show. We ought to get a hell of a rating out of that.
Roll
A
Telecity.
50 share. Easy.
Take Telecity.
When you're having
Listen,
a great time.
Did you hear that?
What was that about?
Howard just said he was going to blow his brains out next Tuesday.
What are you talking about?
Didn't you hear him? He just said... Howard just said he was going to kill himself next Tuesday.
The network fires him immediately, but Beale's friend and boss, Max Schumacher, intervenes so he can have a dignified farewell, but Beale launches into another tirade. Meanwhile, we get introduced to Diane Christensen, an executive who has bold ideas about how to fix the network. She thinks she knows what the viewers want and will do anything to get her way.
In a nutshell, it's it. The American people are turning sullen. They've been clobbered on all sides by Vietnam, Watergate, the inflation, the depression. They've turned off, shot up, and they fuck themselves limp, and nothing helps. So, this concept analysis report concludes the American people want somebody to articulate their rage for them. I've been telling you people since I took this job 6 months ago that I want angry shows. I don't want conventional programming on this network. I want counterculture. I want anti-establishment.
Beale's outburst unexpectedly causes a spike in ratings, which changes the mind of the talk executives of the network. They decide that this new angry man format works and that they will exploit it for all it's worth. Schumacher, who thinks Beale needs mental help, tries to intervene, but Christensen has already convinced the network to put Beale's show under her jurisdiction in the entertainment programming. In one legendary monologue, Beale gives an impassioned speech to his audience, telling them that they need to get mad before any change will come. All the anger and frustration surrounding the oil crisis, the Vietnam War, Watergate, it all comes rushing out, and it really resonates with the viewers.
Take two, Q Howard.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change.
How many stations does this go out
You've got to
live
get
to?
mad.
67.
You've got to say,
I know it
"I'm
goes to
as mad
Louisville
as
and
hell.
Atlanta."
I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil crisis. But first, get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell, and say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Who are you talking to, Herb?
CGG, Atlanta.
Are they yelling in Atlanta, Herb?
Are they yelling in Atlanta, Ted?
But first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
They're yelling in Baton Rouge.
Get up, get up, get up out of your chair.
Son of a bitch! We struck the mother lode!
Stick your head out of the window, open it, and stick your head out and keep yelling and yell, I'm as mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. Just get up from your chairs right now. Go to
Where
the
you
window.
going? I wanna see if
Everybody
anybody's
just go to
yelling.
the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell and keep yelling. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore.
I'm mad as hell! I'm not gonna take it anymore! I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore!
I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it
Now, there's no stopping Beale. He's pulled off the new show and given his own primetime spot on the network, and a live audience who chants his catchphrase on cue.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Network News Hour with Sybil the Soothsayer.
Edward George Ruddy died today. Edward George Ruddy was the chairman of the board of the Union Broadcasting Systems, and he died at 11 o'clock this morning of a heart condition, and woe is us. We're in a lot of trouble. So, a rich little man with white hair died. What has that got to do with the price of rice, right? And why is that woe to us? Because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now. Because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people. And that's why woe is us that Edward George Ruddy died. Because this company is now in the hands of CCA, the Communication Corporation of America. There's a new chairman of the board, a man called Frank Hackett, sitting in Mr. Ruddy's office on the 20th floor. And when the 12th largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be peddled for truth on this network? So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So if you want the truth, go to God. Go to your gurus. Go to yourselves, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But man, you're never going to get any truth from us. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you that Kojak always gets the killer and that nobody ever gets cancer in Archie Bunker's house. And no matter how much trouble the hero is in, don't worry, just look at your watch. At the end of the hour, he's going to win. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Eventually, one of Beale's rants focuses on how the conglomerate that owns UBS will be bought out by an even larger Saudi conglomerate. He rallies his audience to protest by sending telegrams to the White House with terrifying effect. This sends the top executives into a panic as they need the merger to survive. Beale meets with the chairman, who explains that money is the only force that truly counts and that Beale is just a tool for the network to make money. Beale's demeanor changes dramatically. His rants now focus on the dehumanization of men and how America is no longer the land of hopes and dreams. His ratings begin to decline, and eventually the network decides they want to get rid of him, but the chairman won't fire him. Christensen comes up with a plan to kill two birds with one stone. She hires terrorists to kill Beale on the air, while also planning to use the event to kick off a docudrama series about the terrorists themselves. The plan is carried through, and Beale is killed. So how would I sum up the story? Well, I'll let the narrator speak.
This was the story of Howard Beale, the first known instance of a man who was killed because he had lousy ratings.
In conclusion, Network has a permanent place in film history. The message the film gives is that we must be wary of the dangers of mixing news with entertainment and always be critical of how media can influence us. I believe that this has only become more important since the film was originally released, as media has not only grown significantly, but our access to it is virtually instant and unlimited. Network shows the viewer that the media industry is cutthroat but also necessary, and in an age of terrorism, we must not allow the media to manipulate us and make us fearful.